Today we are going to be solving polynomial equations. So we are going to factor the polynomials and then solve.
So like we'll get like a single number?
It'll be a couple of numbers. Yeah. The steps for solving, the first thing that you need to do is get one side equal to 0. The second thing you need to do is check for greatest common factor. Then you need to see if there's any other factoring you can do. And then our final step will be to solve the equation. So once we have it fully factored, then we will solve. Okay, in that step 1, get one side equal to 0, it is important that whichever term has your largest exponent, you want your largest exponent term to be positive. So if you have to rearrange the equation, get one side equal to 0, keep that largest exponent term positive. That will make every other step a whole lot easier. In this first example, we already have equals 0, so that first step is done. Our second step is greatest common factor. Do these three terms have anything in common? X. That would leave us with x squared minus x minus 12. Step 3 is to continue factoring. So this trinomial, we want to try to factor the trinomial. So I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to give me negative 12. Those numbers need to add up to negative 1. You're trying to multiply to get the last term of the trinomial. You're adding to get the middle term of the trinomial. Anyone know what those numbers would be? 3 and negative 4, negative 4 and 3. So that factors into x plus 3, x minus 4. We still have the x in front, and we still have equals 0. So we're done with the factoring piece. Now we need to solve. We did this a little bit last semester. I have a green card, a blue card, and a pink card. Those cards have numbers on them, and when I multiply those numbers together, I get an answer of 0. That means that the green card needs to be 0, or the blue card needs to be 0, or the pink card needs to be 0. If the green card is 0, what is x? 0. If the blue card is 0, what number plus 3 would give us 0? Negative 3. And if the pink card was 0, what number minus 4 is 0? 4. So x equals 0, negative 3, or positive 4. Now this is a good time to think about what is the purpose of factoring and solving with polynomials? Why in the heck do we even need to be able to do this? If I take this polynomial, x cubed minus x squared minus 12x, and stick it in this calculator and say graph, it crosses the x-axis at negative 3, at 0, and at 4. By solving the polynomial, what we are really doing is we're finding the x-intercepts. We're finding where this thing crosses the x-axis. And tomorrow we're going to move into graphing polynomials, and we will need this information so that we can put the polynomial on the graph. Okay, number 2. Number 2, our first step needs to be get one side equal to 0, so we need to get that 28 over to the other side. So we'd have 3x cubed plus 7x squared minus 12x minus 28 equals 0. We kept our largest exponent term positive, so we're good. Step 2, greatest common factor. Do those terms have anything in common? 3? Can we do 7 divided by 3? No. That 3 and 7 are making things kind of difficult, huh? So no, there's no greatest common factor. So then we go to how do we factor a 4-termed polynomial? We do factor by grouping. So split this after the second term. What do the first two terms have in common? They have x squared. So that'd be 3x plus 7. In the second group, the third term starts with a negative, so I definitely want to use a negative. And here's the thing. We want this parentheses to be 3x plus 7. That 3x can give you a hint for what number the two have in common. What is 12 divided by 3? 4. So they must have -4 in common, because that will make it so that our parentheses match. So negative 12x divided by -4 is positive 3x. Negative 28 divided by -4 is positive 7. So our factored form is x squared minus 4 times 3x minus 7, or 3x plus 7. Is that fully factored?
No.
No. X squared minus 4 can factor further into x plus 2, x minus 2, and 3x plus 7. All right, now the solving piece. Some of these are very, very easy to solve. What's the solution for this set of parentheses? -2, because -2 plus 2 is 0. What's the solution for the next set? +2, because 2 minus 2 would give us 0. This next set is a little bit more difficult. Off to the side, I would do 3x plus 7 equals 0. Subtract 7 on both sides. Divide by 3. Our third solution is -7/3. So x equals -2, +2, and -7/3. And in Big Ideas Math, they like to have 3 separate fields. It doesn't matter which order you put them, but you have to put a -2 in one of them, a +2 in one of them, and then -7/3 in the other one. Number 3 is very, very, very similar to number 2. So if you want to do number 3 on your own, you may. But let's go to number 4. What do you think we need to do first in number 4? So 5w cubed minus 50w equals 0. You want to move the 50w over to the left so that you keep your largest exponent term positive. Okay, greatest common factor. What do those two terms have in common? 5 and w. Let's see, -50 minus 5 is -10. We're taking the w out. All right, then I get ready to factor. I see w squared minus, so I'm assuming it's difference of 2 squares. But what's the square root of 10? That's not a perfect square, so it's actually factored. So now we move to the solving step. If 5w had to be 0, 5 times what is 0? 0. Anytime you have a monomial term in front of the parentheses with a variable in it, one of your solutions is 0. For this part, we need to do w squared minus 10 equals 0. Add 10 to both sides. Excuse me. And then how do we undo a square? Square root. So w equals the square root of 10. But we put the square root in there, so we also have to put a plus minus in front of it. The square root of 10 could be a positive number or a negative number. Okay, now Big Ideas Math loves to do this whole 3-field thing. So one of our solutions is 0. Another solution is the square root of 10. Another solution is the negative square root of 10. Big Ideas doesn't like to use the plus minus symbol. They want you to split that up so that you really understand that there are two solutions there. There are two places where that is going to cross the x-axis. And if I grab my calculator and plug this in, let's see, 5x cubed minus 50x. Okay, you can't see the whole polynomial, but the spots where it's crossing the x-axis are the negative square root of 10, the positive square root of 10, and 0 in the middle. Okay, let's go to number 5. There's not going to be a problem like number 5 on your assignment, so do we need to do it? No. The one thing I want you to notice, is there a greatest common factor here? No. So if you were going to factor this, you would have to multiply the 9 times the 4. You'd be looking for two numbers that multiply to give you 36 and add up to negative 12. Once you found those two numbers, you would have to take this negative 12x squared and split it into two terms so that you could do factor by grouping. So whatever those numbers are, you'd put, it's actually negative 6 and negative 6, you'd put negative 6x squared and negative 6x squared because you're taking that 12x squared term and splitting it up using those numbers. And then you'd factor by grouping and solve and whatever. Do you want to try number 3 on your own? Or do we feel like we're good? We're good? Basically, there's nothing super new about today. It's using the factoring that we've been doing. It's just adding that extra solving step at the end. Your assignment is in Big Ideas. It is 4.5 part 1. And there are unlimited answer clicks. So you can try the problem, put in your solutions, check yourself, and then immediately get that feedback about if you're right or wrong and what you need to revise to make sure that you're getting this and feeling good about it.